Hey, my friend, we're becoming good friends here. Mad Bad Voodoo. Thank you very much for the beginning of your video. I think it's great when two people can completely disagree and still be friends and make great conversation between each other. Maybe you and I are going to start a trend on YouTube. I don't know, maybe we'll see. It doesn't mean that you and I have to agree, but we could certainly have some great back and forth. So now I'm going to try to answer the video that you just made to me. You said you're going to make another one today. I probably won't get to that till tomorrow, but let's just see. By the way, I do give you some points on this one, and I'll tell you why. Glasses, you know? Okay. In the beginning, you had mentioned Jimmy Carter, that he was a bad president, and you're probably right. He was pretty inept. Democrat? Yep. I voted for him? Yep. He handled a lot of things in his presidency not great. The difference, I think, between Carter and Bush is that Jimmy Carter was more or less inept, more or less. He did one good thing, and I think that was when he signed, I think it was something, I don't really remember, it was something major. And right now my brain is kind of blank, so I think you know what I'm talking about. And as far as him being doing the Habitat for Humanity, that was more or less after his presidency. I think he was a better president after his presidency than when he was an actual president. No question. I like Carter. I just think that he was inept. Bush, on the other hand, I think is corrupt. That's my opinion. When you say about minorities, okay, I will give you that. Yes, Bush has put a whole lot of minorities into his administration, and that is very much of a good thing, absolutely. And I hope it continues. Really, I do hope it continues. But you do realize that Colin Powell, who was his first, not chief of staff, he resigned after his first administration because he did not agree with Bush's strategies, and he didn't tell the public why, and he's still very quiet on that subject, and I have a funny feeling that there's a lot to it. And you know, we may never know, but I know that he resigned and was very angry with Bush, and for what the real reason was, I don't know. As far as Bush going to the UN, yeah, he did all the right things. He had to do all the right things. The UN used to have a lot more respect than it does today. When it first, was started for the first, I guess, 20 years. I think that the UN should be revamped, and I really think that it should go back to its original policies. I think the UN can be rehabilitated. However, he really was going to war, and I mentioned this already in my previous video. He absolutely believed that there was weapons of mass destruction. Now, you say that Saddam used those weapons on his people, and he did. I mean, we saw the photos, we saw the pictures. He exterminated, my God, most of his, a very major part of his population. However, there's a difference. Bush was talking about weapons of mass destruction that had nothing to do with the assassinations that Saddam Hussein did to his people from years previous. So it's a little bit of a difference here, because Saddam was an evil man, but we have a lot of evil people all around this world, and I still don't believe that our country has to be the police of this world. We have to also take care of ourselves, and it's not being done. Let's see. Also, you had said something about the rest of the world more or less went along with Bush, and yeah, they did in the beginning. I think I know why. In the past, the United States was always looked at, from the rest of the world's point of view, politically at least, as having very, very good intelligence. And we used to have very good intelligence. And more or less what people would do, what the other countries would do, is more or less take our lead and sort of trust our intelligence. Well, our intelligence with this war screwed up big time. And I don't know how many countries have pulled out. I know that Tony Blair is pulling out his people right now. So I think that Bush did not look at the intelligence. I think that there are memos floating around out there that said I know that there are memos out there floating around out there that even from the very beginning, those inspectors never found weapons of mass destruction. And because people in our country revere our presidency so much, we more or less believed him. A lot of us didn't. I was a little skeptical because I didn't care for him in the beginning anyway. When you say that Rumsfeld is an idiot, yeah, I'll give you that. He was an idiot. And I love you for that. I really do. World War II was what they call a conventional war. And up until, I guess, the Vietnam War and this war, all of our wars were more or less fought with certain guidelines. I mean, yes, people got killed. It was terrible. World War II was not just our country, it was several countries, but we also did have the Geneva Convention, which we followed. There were certain boundaries, certain guidelines that all the countries more or less followed, and that went to prisoners of war and how to treat prisoners of war. It's not to say we were 100% perfect. We weren't, but at least it was recognized that there were certain rules of engagement. With this war, there are no rules of engagement. I don't even think that the Geneva Convention is even thought about anymore. You know what I think is going to happen? Here's what I think should happen. I heard it the other night, and I think it's a good idea. I haven't really looked into it. I think that Iraq will probably or should split into 3 countries. The Sunnis and the Shia have been fighting each other for thousands of years. I don't see that ending right now. If they split into 3 countries, that might help them, and it may give us a good exit strategy. I don't know. As far as the media, you're kind of right. I think that more or less there's too much media. Yet, I'm of 2 minds with this. In the past, we didn't have media. We had journalists who wrote. Not very many people read the articles, so therefore there wasn't so much of an uproar. However, I also do believe in the media. I think there should be a certain amount of accountability, especially if we have a president that we're not quite sure of. So I haven't sort of made up my mind about that one yet. You say Bush stuck to his guns. Yeah, and he's still sticking to his guns. What I would like to see, here's what I would like to see. I'd like to see a president who can be bold enough and courageous enough to say, I was wrong. And because I was wrong, this is how we're going to fix it. Bush won't do that. And that's why I'm so angry at him. As far as the baby boomers go, when JFK came in, yeah, we were 16, 17, 18. We more or less loved his views on things. Maybe we would have protested him. I don't know. But I know that he was a very progressive thinker. And we really loved him very much. Now, when the Cuban Missile Crisis came, I can remember that very well. We were very, very scared. We really believed that we were going to be gone within a day. I made another video about baby boomers, and I mentioned it in there. What most people don't know is that we came very close to annihilation during that time. And JFK didn't really handle it real well. It was very scary times. What a lot of people do not know is that Robert Kennedy, his brother, went through a back door. It was not publicized and had some secret negotiations with the Russians. That's what ended the Cuban Missile Crisis. Because of Bobby Kennedy, not because more or less of his brother. I don't know too much about it. I have read about it. And I think that we came really, really close to annihilation. However, and that's what put an end to that conflict. I'm just going to end by saying I'm really so glad that you're answering me. You and I are of 2 minds, definitely. But I think it's great. I think anybody else on YouTube who has differences of opinions should respect each other's feelings and talk to each other with a whole lot of respect. And that's it. That's my sermon for today. I'll answer your next video by tomorrow, I promise. Bye.